Diana and I had been in love for 7 years. At our engagement party, the MC asked if she would marry me. She said yes, but she had one condition. Just as the guests thought she was trying to liven up the mood, she looked at the people on the main stage, her face full of emotion. I'm pregnant with my ex-boyfriend's child through artificial insemination. I'm 3 months along. I hope you can understand this. That's all. The moment she said it, the entire hall erupted. I demanded an explanation, but she insisted she hadn't cheated, that it was only artificial insemination. I trembled, bitter taste filling my mouth. But she said, Leo always wanted a child of his own. Is it wrong for me to help him fulfill his wish? I'm just helping someone else have a baby. What's so wrong with that? Why are you getting so upset? I had just thought Diana was gaining a little weight, but now I understood. The reason for her slightly rounded belly was that she was carrying another man's child. I felt like a drowned rat, running desperately through the streets, ignoring the stares of strangers who looked at me like I was a madman. I didn't stop until I got home. Staring at my pathetic reflection in the mirror, replaying Diana's words in my head, I couldn't find any peace. Looking around the house that felt both familiar and alien, I thought about my 7 years with Diana. We were so close to making it official, just one step away. Why did it have to end like this? I started chugging whiskey, trying to drown my thoughts in alcohol. Diana came home that evening. Pinching her nose, she stared at the bottle in my hand with disgust. Didn't you promise me you'd cut back on drinking? Now you're drinking straight from the bottle. I'm just concerned about your health. Why do you always ignore what I say? I was silent for a long moment before speaking, my voice hoarse. Let's put that aside. Let's talk about the baby in your stomach. So, you really are this angry about it? You just walked out of our engagement party in front of all those people. How do you think that made me look? I felt like I'd been struck by lightning. If my actions were embarrassing, what do you call announcing you're pregnant with another man's child at your own engagement party and demanding your fiancé accept it? Yes, she admitted. A while ago, I underwent artificial insemination with Leo. I didn't get your permission. His wife is the only daughter of a wealthy family. She's been spoiled her whole life and is afraid of the pain of childbirth, so she refuses to have a baby for him. Leo posts on Facebook every day about wanting a child. No one wants a baby of his own more than he does. I'm just helping him fulfill his dream. What's wrong with that? Hearing that, I finally lost control. Fine, you're right. None of you did anything wrong. I'm the one who's wrong. I'm the one who deserves to be made a fool of. To have my own fiancée announce she's carrying another man's child at our engagement party and then demand I accept it. I guess I just deserve it all. Hearing my outburst, Diana only got angrier. Frank, why are you yelling at me? I've already explained everything perfectly clearly. I can't believe you're fighting with me over such a trivial little thing. What kind of man are you? My God, my entire worldview was crumbling. In her mind, this absurd, life-altering event was just a trivial matter. What do you want from me? You don't trust me, right? Well, listen to me, Frank. I swear to God, I absolutely did not cheat on you. The baby was conceived through artificial insemination. Leo and I did absolutely nothing to betray you. The whiskey was hitting me hard now. I collapsed onto the sofa. What's the point of telling me all this? You're already pregnant. Whether it was artificial insemination or not doesn't seem to matter anymore. And don't bother trying to convince me to accept it. Trust me, no man on earth could accept this. Diana, the wedding is off. We're done. When she heard that, her eyes instantly welled up with tears. Frank, you're really going to leave me over something this small? It's not like nobody wants me. If you want to break up, then fine. We're broken up. I'd had enough. Before she could say another word, I grabbed my bags and walked out the door. And just like that, my relationship with Diana was officially over. The cool night air on my face sobered me up a little. Staring down the quiet, empty street, I started thinking about the past with Diana. We met in college. She was our campus queen, the girl everyone knew, and she had guys lining up to ask her out. Back then, I was just an average guy from an ordinary family. In the spring of our freshman year, she and Leo Harrison made it official, and just like that, the campus queen was off the market. Everyone sent their congratulations, calling them a perfect match, made for each other. But it didn't last. During our sophomore year, Leo's uncle, who lived in England, arranged for him to go study there. The rumor was that his uncle was very influential in England. Since Leo's parents had passed away when he was young, his uncle treated him like his own son and didn't approve of him dating a girl from a regular family. Left with no choice, they eventually broke up. Diana was heartbroken for a long time after that. Then, somehow, in that sea of people, she noticed me. The campus queen was interested in me. I was so ecstatic. How could I possibly say no? But after we got together, our classmates didn't approve. My family was just too ordinary. Everyone thought I wasn't good enough for the campus queen. Even so, Diana stood firmly by my side, telling me not to listen to them. She said she loved me and would love me for the rest of her life. In that moment, I truly believed I'd found true love, and I dismissed everyone who doubted us as being jealous. She was my greatest motivation. Being with her made me want to work harder, and I got into grad school after we graduated. For her, I turned down a high-paying job in New York City after I finished my master's, choosing to stay in the Midwest for what I thought was love. After years of grinding, I had finally saved up enough for an engagement ring, a house, and a car. I never imagined that, just as we were about to get married, something like this would happen. I really thought Diana and I would grow old together, happy for the rest of our lives. But everything was ready, and then the final piece fell apart. This whole surrogacy affair made me understand one thing clearly. Leo Harrison had always been in Diana's heart, and his place there was far more important than mine. I gave up a lucrative career and worked so hard for so many years, only to end up with nothing. I had become the biggest joke. The next morning, as my head was pounding, I got a call from Diana. "Frank, why did you block me on iMessage? Do you have any idea how worried I was when I couldn't reach you? Everything's fine with us. I have a doctor's appointment today to check on the baby's development. Leo usually comes with me, but something came up for him today, and I can't go alone while I'm pregnant. We're like a family. Will you please come with me? I promise. After the baby is born, he can call you Dad too." I let out a small, bitter laugh, once again stunned by Diana's incredible logic. "I don't know how you can even say those words. I've already been made a fool of for 3 months. Are you planning on never letting me go, just keeping me in this humiliating position for the rest of my life? I don't need a child you had with another man to call me Dad. Don't ever say that again. We're broken up. I have no obligation to take you to the hospital. I wish you and Leo Harrison all the happiness in the world." "What are you talking about? Leo is a married man." Diana's voice on the other end softened. In all our years together, it was the first time she had ever sounded like this with me. "Frank, what's done is done, and it's really not that big of a deal. Can't you just let it go? We were in love for 7 whole years. We obviously have feelings for each other. How many 7-year periods does a person get in life? Last night, without you here, I realized I can't live without you. I am so sorry for the hurtful things I said and for everything I did to hurt you. This will all be over soon. After the baby is born, he'll go to Leo, and then we can go back to it just being the 2 of us. 7 years is a long time. Don't just throw it away. Let's get back together." I couldn't hold it in any longer. I exploded. "I'm telling you one last time, we are broken up. I'm not going to the hospital with you, and don't call me again." Before she could reply, I slammed the phone down. A moment later, my phone rang again. I glanced at the screen. It was an unknown number. I answered cautiously, and a mocking voice came through the speaker. Well, Frank, I hear you're a big shot with a master's degree now, pulling in over $500,000 a year out there in the Midwest. A great job and a beautiful girlfriend. I'm really jealous." Of course, I knew it was Leo Harrison. I scoffed. I should be the one who's jealous. Getting another man's fiancé to carry your child for you. Now that's real charm. Just then, I heard Diana's voice in the background. Her previous apologetic tone had vanished completely. "Frank, who do you think you're talking to with that sarcastic tone? Can't you speak like a decent person? Who are you trying to impress with that self-righteous act? You have no manners." I was speechless. Leo had clearly started it, and I was the one being called rude for firing back. I had nothing more to say to people like them, so I cut to the chase. "Is there a point to this call? If not, I'm hanging up." Leo spoke again. "Frank, my friend, I'm asking you not to be so hostile toward Diana and me. I heard about what happened. We're all adults here. Let's not be childish. You two have 7 years of history together. You can't just throw that away. I was supposed to take Diana to the hospital today, but something urgent came up at work, and I couldn't get away. That's when we thought of you." I laughed, but there was no humor in it. These two were taking turns calling to gaslight me. Even with my patience, I had reached my breaking point. "Do me a favor and stop telling me what to do. And don't you dare interfere with my decisions, okay? In fact, please do not think of me at all. Diana and I are over. Completely." Leo finally lost his temper. The polite facade dropped, and he started yelling into the phone. "Frank, you call yourself a man? How can you be so damn petty? Breaking up with Diana over this? That's just pathetic. This whole thing only happened because I wanted a child, and Diana was just helping me out as a friend. I don't see what she did wrong. Besides, I made sure to ask her beforehand, and she told me she had already discussed it with you and that you had agreed. Have you no shame?" I said into the phone, my voice ice cold. "Leo, please just stop with the lies. If you were any kind of decent man, you never would have done something so outrageous in the first place. You have no right to lecture me. If that's all, we're done. Talking to someone like you is making me sick." Diana immediately flared up. "What is that attitude? I'm telling you, say whatever you want about me, but you leave Leo out of it. I agreed to everything. It's not his fault. Listening to Diana defend Leo so fiercely, the part of my heart that had died grew even colder. Diana, who was it that told me, when we were together, that she was still young and didn't want to ruin her figure, that she didn't want to even think about having kids until she was 35? I remember agreeing to that, didn't I? And then you turn around and do this. Don't you feel like you've betrayed your own words? Or do you think having Leo's baby won't change your body? You look me in the eye and tell me you haven't wronged me. How dare you even ask to get back together? After that barrage, Diana on the other end of the line went silent, clearly at a loss for words. Leo stepped in, his voice dripping with sarcasm. A petty guy like you deserves this. Diana is way too good for you, and you're too stupid to see it. She's just a girl. How can you be so cruel to her? Take a good look in the mirror. It was a miracle she ever even gave you the time of day. You're a pathetic, petty man, and you'll never amount to anything. You deserve to end up with nothing. Leo, does her wife know about this? I asked with a cold smile. What do you think she would do if she found out? Hearing my question, Leo's voice faltered. He was obviously nervous. Just then, Diana's voice cut in. Isabella knows about it, right, Leo? She was clearly looking to him for confirmation. I pushed him. Leo, why don't you act like a man and tell the truth? Does your wife, Isabella Thorne, actually know about this? On the other end, Leo was breathing heavily, clearly agitated by my challenge. Leo, what's the big deal? Just tell him. Tell him Isabella knows, Diana urged. Leo let out a soft sigh. I am sorry, Diana. I lied to you. The truth is, Isabella has no idea about any of this. The hopeful tone in Diana's voice died instantly. Leo, do you have any idea what the consequences are? If Isabella finds out, forget about her family's influence for a second. First and foremost, what you've done is illegal. Leo argued back. It won't come to that. If she does find out, we'll just say we wanted this baby together voluntarily. The worst that can happen is I get a reputation for cheating. That's a moral issue, not a legal one. The law can't touch me. Diana started to cry out of sheer panic. How can you be so naive? If it gets to that point, and Isabella claims she knew about it, this becomes illegal surrogacy. That's a crime in this country. Even though it's not her egg, do you really think the Thorne family can't find a way to put you behind bars? Why did you lie to me? You told me Isabella knew. How are we supposed to fix this now? If you go to jail, what am I supposed to do? Frank and I are broken up now. Are the baby and I supposed to starve while you're locked up? Leo started to panic, clearly having never considered these consequences. He seemed to be picturing the worst-case scenario. What's the point of yelling at me now? What's done is done. All I wanted was a child of my own. I wasn't thinking about all this. This is all your fault, you bitch. Why did you agree to it in the first place? If I go to prison because of this, I swear I will make you pay. Diana went silent on the other end. She never imagined the man she cherished most could say something so cruel. Realizing his mistake and terrified she might expose him, Leo quickly tried to backtrack. I am sorry, Diana. I was just panicking. I shouldn't have yelled at you. Trust me, I can handle this. I'll make sure Isabella never finds out. Besides, Isabella isn't stupid. When it comes down to it, she'll believe me over anyone else. Without solid proof, it's just a rumor. Through her tears, Diana mumbled that she believed him. Of course. At this point, what choice did she have but to believe him? Listening to this tragic pair, I was about to hang up in disgust when Diana's voice came through, sharp and threatening. Frank, you're not to say a word about this to anyone. Huh, didn't you just call me a petty, narrow-minded man? What's the point of threatening a guy like that? I laughed. Leo shot back. You're just a loser who couldn't even hold onto his woman. Who's going to believe a word you say? Besides, I know you don't have any real proof. You'll end up shooting yourself in the foot. And even if you do manage to tarnish my name, do you really think my wife, Isabella Thorne, will just let you walk away? I didn't want to argue anymore, and I was tired of their threats. I just hung up. It wasn't hard to figure out that Isabella didn't know. I wasn't just guessing. Leo's wife, Isabella Thorne, was the pride and joy of the powerful Thorne family. I couldn't believe she would ever tolerate her husband having a child with another woman. Even if she were afraid of childbirth and wanted a surrogate, she would have used her own eggs. Why would she ever agree to use Diana's? I was certain the story about Isabella being afraid of the pain was a complete lie, an excuse Leo invented to convince Diana. There had to be something else going on. Maybe Leo and Diana had just rekindled their old romance. But I had a friend do some digging, and Leo and Isabella were still married. With the Thorne family's power in the city, I knew Leo would never dare to publicly acknowledge Diana, much less let Isabella know about the child. That phone call made everything crystal clear. To get Diana to agree to the insemination, Leo had lied, telling her Isabella was on board when she knew nothing. The only thing I couldn't figure out was why. What could possibly motivate Leo to take such a massive risk? But it wasn't my problem anymore, and I didn't care enough to find out. 3 days later, the same unknown number called my phone. I knew it was Leo. I answered and said coldly, "What do you want?" "The class reunion is in a couple of days. I just got back in the country, so the class president asked me to organize it, to reconnect with everyone. You're not going to chicken out and skip it just because of a little friction between us, are you?" I glanced at my calendar. Sure enough, the annual class reunion was in 2 days. I could hear Diana in the background. "Leo, why are you even calling him? If the class president asks, we can just say he couldn't make it. Seeing him will just ruin the mood. We're all classmates," Leo replied smoothly. It wouldn't be right to leave anyone out. I knew what Leo was really up to. He wanted to humiliate me in front of all our old classmates. He wanted to show everyone that the moment he came back, the campus queen was his again, and I was nothing more than a temporary placeholder. He was doing all this simply because I had been with Diana, and he'd held a grudge ever since. After a moment's hesitation, I agreed to go. But before the reunion, I arranged a meeting with Isabella Thorne. Isabella didn't act like a spoiled heiress at all. She was straightforward and agreed to meet immediately. It turned out she had known about Leo's affairs for a long time. She just hadn't confronted him yet, because she was waiting for the right moment. We talked for a long time about marriage, about love, and about our shared opinions on scumbags and cheats. Maybe because we were both victims of the same situation, we found we had a lot in common. Isabella had a lot of information, and she shared a shocking bombshell with me about Leo's family. When we parted ways, we gave each other a fist bump and a knowing smile. 2 days later, after work, I went to the reunion as planned. When I opened the door to the private room, most of our classmates were already there. Sitting right in the middle of the crowd, holding court, were Diana and Leo. They were surrounded by classmates, fawning over them like they were royalty. "You two are back together. You're the real perfect match. The campus king and queen. I bet the baby will be gorgeous. Can I be the godmother when the baby's born? I'll give a big gift. See, you two were always the ones who were meant to be." Honestly, I never thought Diana and Frank were right for each other. The moment I walked in, one of Leo and Diana's cronies started in on me. "Well, look who it is. Frank, aren't you embarrassed? Showing your face here in front of Diana and Leo? Don't you feel defeated at all?" I was wondering who that was. "It's just a bad luck charm. Why is he here? Who invited him?" The class president, Mark, slammed his hand on the table. "I told him to invite him. Why can't he be here? He's our classmate, isn't he?" I shot Mark a grateful look and found an empty seat in the corner. I knew these people were just sucking up to Leo and didn't dare cross him, so they took it out on me instead. I kept to myself, sitting quietly in the corner and hoping the night would end quickly. I made a mental note to never attend one of these again. I didn't want any trouble, but trouble always seemed to find me. Leo kept shooting me smiles that didn't reach his eyes, clearly plotting something. Midway through the evening, I went to the restroom. To get back to my table, I had to walk right past Leo and Diana. I had just gone back to my seat, not even fully sitting down, when Leo suddenly yelled, "Who just hit my wife's stomach? Don't you know she's over 3 months pregnant?" I knew immediately this was a setup. This time, I wasn't going to take it. I quickly sent my location to Isabella. Leo jumped up, putting on an Oscar-worthy performance of panic, pointing at Diana's stomach and shouting that someone was trying to hurt their baby. A girl with a shrill voice immediately chimed in. "We all know who did it. Frank, get up here and explain yourself." "I didn't do anything. What is there to explain?" "Oh, my stomach hurts so much," Diana moaned, clutching her belly in perfect sync with Leo's act. She looked at me with fake tears in her eyes. "Even though we broke up, I can't believe you'd be this cruel. He actually went after the baby," another person shouted. "Frank never looked like a good guy. He's just bitter about being cheated on and wants revenge. Yeah, what a monster. Someone should call the cops." Leo glared at me, his face a mask of fury. "Frank, I know you're pissed that Diana and I are back together. But if you have a problem, you take it up with me. How dare you touch my wife and my child? You're going to answer for this." He strode over and grabbed me by the collar. "Get on your knees and apologize to my wife right now." "I'm not apologizing for something I didn't do." The same girl from before piped up again, fanning the flames. "Just stop with the denials. You're the only one here with a motive. You're just jealous that Diana and Leo are back together. Who else are you going to try and blame? Don't let him get away with it. Get on your knees and apologize, or you're not walking out of here tonight." I can't believe Frank would be so vicious to his ex-girlfriend. What a piece of trash with no upbringing. Didn't your mother teach you any better? "I'll show you what." Leo snarled, and then he punched me square in the face. I wasn't expecting it and went down hard. Before I could get up, He grabbed a wine bottle from the table and started swinging it at me. Seeing this, a crowd of heroic classmates jumped in to help, kicking and punching me while I was down. Diana stood to the side, pretending to break it up while sneaking in a few kicks of her own when she thought no one was watching. Just as the chaos reached its peak, Mark, the class president, stepped in and stopped the whole mess. He looked at me sternly. "Frank, tell me the truth. Did you hit Diana's stomach? Were you trying to hurt the baby?" "Thanks, Mark," I said, my answer not quite matching his question. I patted his shoulder. "I can't prove it with words, but the security cameras will tell the real story. But right now, I have something much more important to say. I had been humiliated by them time and time again. I had tolerated far too much, but with every chance I gave them, their cruelty only escalated. Even a saint would lose his temper, and I am no saint." I spat a mouthful of blood onto the floor and pointed at Leo and Diana. "You two just can't get enough of this, can you? I was ready to walk away and let you have each other, but you repeatedly humiliate me in public, and tonight you try to frame me for something despicable. Since you've brought this on yourselves, I'm going to make sure you pay for it." I cleared my throat, ready to drop the bombshell Isabella had given me. I walked over to the sound system, cut the music, and my voice boomed through the silent room. "Everyone, I have some shocking news for you. The truth is, this baby isn't Leo's at all. It's his uncle's. Leo went all the way to England, stole his uncle's frozen sperm from a hospital sperm bank, and used Diana as an incubator. Also, he could get his hands on his uncle's inheritance." Everyone in the room was completely baffled. They had no idea where this uncle in England had come from. Even Diana stared at me like I was an idiot. "Frank, did they hit you too hard? What on earth are you talking about? This baby is mine and Leo's. That's the truth." Thinking about it, Diana was actually a pathetic figure. She was being used as a pawn, a birthing tool, and here she was still defending him. Leo's eyes darted nervously. He clearly had no idea how I knew the truth, and in front of everyone, he wasn't about to admit it. "Frank, I don't know where you're getting these crazy rumors. Inventing some uncle out of thin air. You're just trying to create a distraction to cover up the fact that you just assaulted my wife, an unborn child." As soon as Leo spoke, his followers jumped on the bandwagon. "Leo's right. He's just trying to change the subject. Don't fall for it. He's just trying to hide what he did. He's a monster. Someone should call the police and have him arrested." I stared through the crowd, my eyes locked on Leo, and spoke in an ice-cold voice. "Leo, am I the one spreading rumors? Or are you just too cowardly to admit what you've done? Since you're so tough, why don't you tell everyone whose baby Diana is really carrying? If you still have the guts to claim that child is yours, then I'm sorry to tell you, you won't see a single cent of your uncle's inheritance." I opened the voice recorder app on my phone and started walking slowly toward him. I could see the panic in his eyes. As I moved forward, he instinctively backed away. I backed him into a corner. I was certain he wouldn't be willing to give up that much money. He would tell the truth. And sure enough, after a moment of frantic calculation, his expression hardened. He had made a decision. I held my phone right up to his face. Through gritted teeth, he said, "Fine. What you said is true. All of it is true." The room exploded with gasps and murmurs. The same girl who had been leading the charge against me yelled out, "Holy crap, Diana! You were just a pawn for him to get an inheritance." Diana collapsed onto the floor, staring at Leo in utter disbelief. "It's not true. Tell me it's not true. You said you loved me. You told me you wanted a child, and you used that to drive a wedge between me and Frank. You said if I had this baby for you, you would take me away with you. You said you had a fortune overseas. Was this what you were talking about?" As she spoke, tears streamed down her face. Leo swallowed hard. He knew that admitting this would ruin his reputation forever. "Diana, listen to me," he pleaded. "As long as I get that inheritance, I can take you abroad. We can have a better life. Even now, you're carrying my uncle's child. We're still going to get that money." Diana just shook her head, sobbing. "If you really loved me, I would have been happy to be poor with you. But this changes everything. You said you loved me, over and over, but you did this to me. Don't you feel any guilt at all?" Everyone in the room, except me, was in shock. The classmates wanted to condemn Leo, to take the moral high ground, but they were too afraid of his connections to say anything. Looking at their cowardly, two-faced expressions, I almost had a laugh. Leo couldn't bring himself to look at Diana. Instead, he turned to me, his eyes filled with venom. "I don't know how you found all this out, but what does it have to do with you? This is Harrison family business. It's not the place for a loser like you to interfere. Then do I have the authority?" A voice with a distinct British accent cut through the room. An older English gentleman appeared in the doorway. He walked slowly into the room and looked directly at Leo. "I am your uncle's solicitor. Now that he has passed, as the executor of his estate, I believe I have every right to take charge of these matters. Oh, and one more thing. According to the terms of your uncle's will, my current employer is your wife, Isabella Thorne. At that, the classmates started whispering again, pretending to be shocked. Wait, Leo is married. So if he's with Diana, that makes her the other woman? What a total scumbag. I don't get it. He has a wife from a family that powerful, and he still cheats? Some people just don't know when they have good. And Diana is such a slut, knowingly getting involved with a married man. I scoffed at these fair-weather friends. 10 minutes ago, even though they knew the truth, they were too afraid of Leo's status to say a word. They all knew he was married to Isabella Thorne. That was the only reason they ever kissed up to him in the first place. Now that Leo was exposed, they were all piling on. Diana was stunned yet again. She stumbled over to Leo. You told me you and Isabella were divorced. You lied to me again. You let all these people call me a homewrecker to my face. Enraged, Leo shoved her hard. Get away from me. Diana fell to the floor. The smug look she'd worn while helping Leo frame me was gone, replaced by quiet, broken sobs. Ow, how can you prove it? Leo was completely panicked now, his words catching in his throat. The lawyer let out a dry chuckle and placed his credentials and a letter of retainer on the table. I wasn't just your uncle's solicitor. I was his best friend. Your uncle never married, and he was grooming you to be his heir. But you have a corrupt heart. You remember all the despicable things you did while you were overseas, don't you? Your uncle knew you were morally bankrupt. He knew you coveted his estate and his fortune. He even knew you once tried to poison him. That is why he refused to leave his inheritance to you, to continue the family line. In his old age, he left his sperm at a private clinic in London, entrusting me to find a way to raise his heir. And you took advantage of a lapse in security and stole it. How did your uncle treat you? And how did you repay him? Is money really more important than family, than the man who raised you? You should remember that if it weren't for your uncle's intervention, you would have gone to prison for rape back in your university days. Not only are you ungrateful, you plotted against your own dead uncle. You are a truly despicable man. The irony is your uncles will actually left you 30% of his estate on the condition that you behaved yourself. The room erupted again. My God, that's insane. He tried to murder his own uncle for money? He's not a man. He's an animal. I always knew he was scum. And a rapist too. And his uncle still left him something in the will. What ungrateful bastard. Now, Leo would face legal consequences in both England and here at home. Stealing genetic material, arranging an illegal surrogacy, these were serious crimes, and he had just confessed to all of them. Leo completely lost it. Knowing he was cornered, he grabbed a heavy glass ashtray and lunged at the lawyer. Diana knew Leo was already in deep trouble. If he assaulted someone now, he'd be locked away for life. She threw her arms around Leo's waist, trying to hold him back. Leo, please, what you've done is bad enough. Don't make it worse. No matter how long you're in prison, I'll wait for you. Leo, looking for a scapegoat, turned on her. He grabbed her by the collar and brought the ashtray down hard on her head. This is all your fault. Everything is your fault. You're the one who seduced me. You're the one who insisted on having this baby. You bitch, I'm going to kill you. He punched her again and again in the face. Blood poured from her nose and mouth, but she still clung to him, pleading, Leo, I know this is a shock. Please calm down. I'm your wife. Even after all your lies, I still want to be with you. You're not my wife, he screamed. You're Frank's fiancé. Weren't you supposed to marry him? Go on, you bitch. Go marry him. What are you still doing hanging around me? You were never my wife. I never thought of you as my wife. You were just a tool, something I used to get what I wanted. It looked like he was about to kill her. The English lawyer frantically waved his arms toward the door, shouting, Police! Get the police in here! At that moment, uniformed police officers burst into the room and wrestled Leo to the ground. Clearly, the lawyer had arranged for them to be on standby. The lawyer explained the situation, and the officers noted that the illegal surrogacy alone was enough to send him to prison for a long time. At that critical moment, Isabella Thorne walked in. She gave me a slight nod, then walked over to the lawyer. Michael, she said, acknowledging him. Leo started sobbing, a pathetic mess of tears and snot. Honey, they're trying to arrest me. They're going to take me to prison. You have to save me. I was wrong. I know I was wrong. Please forgive me. For the sake of our marriage, you have to help me, right? Isabella gave him a cold, mocking smile. Don't worry. I'm here now. Hearing that, Leo seemed to relax like a dog that had just seen its master. A flicker of hope appeared in his eyes. Isabella walked over to where he lay on the floor. Her voice turned to ice as she pressed the heel of her shoe against his head. Leo Harrison, do you remember what I told you would happen if you ever cheated on me? When we got married, my father was against it. He had you investigated and said you were corrupt to the core, that you were capable of doing terrible things. But I didn't believe him. I fought with my entire family to be with you. And this is how you repay me. I wasn't finished. Don't worry, I'm here now, and I'll make sure you get a few extra years on your sentence. She turned to the police. Officers, please inform your superiors that they are not to show any leniency on account of the Thorne family. I've already filed for divorce. He is no longer associated with us in any way. Isabella, you can't do this to me. And with Leo's final, desperate screams, the police led him away. The crowd buzzed with excitement. The sheer number of twists and turns in such a short time was overwhelming, more dramatic than any Hollywood movie. Diana crawled over and knelt in front of me. She was a mess, her face swollen and bruised from the beating Leo, the man she'd sacrificed everything for, had given her. All traces of the former campus queen were gone. Full of regret, she confessed her mistakes and begged me to forgive her, to take her back. But there was no chance of that. She had betrayed me for another man, gotten pregnant with his child while she was still with me. Her heart had never truly been mine. I couldn't accept her back. Frank, you promised you'd love me forever. You swore you would. Don't you remember any of that? Do you really not love me anymore? Before I could answer, the classmates, now that the power dynamic had shifted, started chiming in. Frank, just go home. Don't be a fool. Yeah, she's not worth it. I nodded to the crowd and walked out of the room, a strange emptiness in my chest. The woman I had once loved with all my heart had been used by another man as nothing more than a pawn, a tool to secure an inheritance. Leo Harrison was sentenced to 7.5 years in prison. It was some measure of justice. Diana, in a strange twist of fate, ended up with a fortune. Since she was carrying the sole heir to the Harrison estate, after the child was born, she inherited everything. Many years later, there was a major story on the local news. After Leo was released from prison, he tracked down Diana and demanded a share of the Harrison inheritance. Diana, still haunted by the past and unable to forgive him for using her, refused. During the ensuing argument, Leo stabbed and killed her. Having just been released, he was immediately arrested again. 2 days later, he was executed. Watching the shocking news report, I felt a twinge of sadness, but mostly, I felt a sense of closure for the man I used to be. Their deaths were their own doing, but their child was the real victim. In the end, the Harrison estate, as per the uncle's original will, went to Isabella Thorne. She didn't keep a cent of it, donating the entire fortune to the Red Cross. The most innocent person in this whole tragedy, their son, was sent to an orphanage at the age of 7, an age when a child needs his parents most. My heart ached for him. I thought back to all those years ago. No matter what I did, Diana's heart had always belonged to someone else. And the man she had loved so devotedly had deceived her for money, beaten her when he was cornered, and ultimately killed her for that same money. Thankfully, that was all in the past. That chapter of my life was finally, truly closed. I have a wife and children now. I have to forget all that unhappiness and live for them. I always believed my bad luck wouldn't last forever. And after years of hard work, I became a senior executive at my company, making well over $1 million a year. My focus now is on raising my children right, growing old with my wife, and cherishing every single day I have with my family.